Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. Coming up is the Jasper Strassenfest. That's right, summer's almost over as people are getting ready for school, but let's have the Strassenfest first. Joining us in the studio is Mike Ackerman. Mike is the chairman, second year of the Jasper Strassenfest. Mike, you're doing a great job so far this year. Did a great job last year.
Thank you so much.
Also joining us is Shelby Hettinger, and Shelby is the chairperson for the social media and Facebook, seems like that. Okay,
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Strassenfest, and which is coming up next week, which means this weekend we're going to be crowning some royalty. And Shelby, can you tell us about that?
Yes, we want to invite everyone out to come out this Saturday at 7 p.m. for the Strassenfest pageant. We'll do the Little Miss, the Little Mister, and Junior Miss. You want to come out and do this because this year they're doing things a little differently. They're going to bring back some past pageant winners as well, so it should be exciting.
And a lot of this is because it's the 40th anniversary.
Absolutely.
That's why you got the little buttons with the glowing
Absolutely.
rubies.
So thanks for having us back here today, Bill, for the second day in a row. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, that's right.
And yes, it is the 40th Jasper Strassenfest. So we're all excited, and there are a lot of different things that are planned to help spice us up and be commemorative about this year.
Now, obviously, for the pageants, those entries are already set up. But there's a lot of events that occur at the Strassenfest that you can show up that day, like the WBDC Tournament of Champions. You can just show up that day and play cornhole. Some of the things you may want to register ahead of time. And that would be, I guess, through social media and through the website.
Yes, all of the registration forms are on the website, and you can get there by visiting www.strassenfest.org or by going to our Facebook page, and that links you to the website and all the forms as well.
How's social media been going?
It's wonderful. Our Facebook page is very, very active, and that's really exciting. And we get people messaging all the time, asking questions, which you're more than welcome to do. Someone should have an answer for you always. We post entertainment. All the events are listed on that page, so it should answer pretty much any questions any visitors have.
And you mentioned entertainment, and we had Heath Klimper on last night on in.form. He did a great job with the entertainment. There is a lot of entertainment that is going on every night of the Strassenfest. So get the poster or go to the website and check it out, or Facebook, I guess, as well, and find out there. You have Hof Marshals, which explain what a Hof Marshal is.
So a Hof Marshal is someone that is specially recognized at a fest, someone that's made a large contribution in the past. Historically, it has been one person. But this year, in honor of the 40th Strassenfest, the committee picked the original Strassenfest committee as our Hof Marshals. That original committee did so much about laying down great foundations, great policies that have enabled us to prosper, thrive, and grow for the past 40 years.
Yeah, and really that is a key, because those folks did set that up, and it's continued now for 40 years.
It really has. And with your permission, I'd like to name the folks that were on that initial committee,
Sure.
Because that's very important to the Strassenfest. So the chair that first year was Charles Stemptenagel. Committee members included Jim Harris, Ann Goody, Paul Seidel, Pete Sermersheim, Charles Tagliarini, Tom Hines, Jack Brandt, Dennis Kelly, Bernie Vogler, Ken Sternberg, and Cliff Dugan. And again, we cannot thank that original group enough for all of the things that they did.
Now, the opening ceremonies are coming up next week, August 2nd.
That is correct.
Let's talk about the opening ceremonies.
So with this being the 40th Jasper Strassenfest, we wanted to do things a little bit different, bring out some new things. And one of the things that we had a desire to do was go back to our German roots. And put a few more German things in. So we have a lot of thanks to give to the Jasper Deutsche Verein, who took that ball and ran with it. And in particular, I got to give a great shout out to my sister Laura Grammer, which is the treasurer of Jasper Deutsche Verein, for having a lot of creativity, spending a lot of time getting all of this organized. We can't thank her enough. But at our opening ceremonies, we are going to have some new things. So as many are aware, Jasper Cities, Sister Cities was recently named Best Program in the United States for cities and towns of its size. So she's taken some stuff out of the Pfaffenweiler Schneckifest and incorporating it in. And one of those things is for opening ceremony, we're going to incorporate the lighting of a lantern to signify the opening of the fest. And that's a little ceremony with the mayor and a night watchman and the night watchman's wife to kind of show that the fest has started.
Okay.
And this is something that we've pulled in out of Offenweiler, which we think is very, very cool. Some other things that are going to be coming back is there's a maypole dance that's going to come back that's going to feature elementary students. Laura worked with Evan Elrod and others to script a Vil Coleman song, a specially original song to be used as part of opening ceremonies that'll have a little dance theme that works with it, kind of like a cuckoo song, if you know the cuckoo song. And she's got a group to be able to do a traditional shoe plottler slap dance to be able to bring some of that back. So there's going to be a lot of things going on Thursday night that are very traditional, very different, new for the 40th Jasper Strassenfest.
And hopefully that'll continue for the next 40 years.
We certainly hope a lot of it can continue, but we are very appreciative of, again, to Jasper Deutsch, Ryan, and Laura, and very appreciative to the students, elementary and high schoolers that are participating, and hopefully it's piquing interest and we continue this thing going on.
All right, and that is Thursday night. What time does that start?
About 6 p.m.
And it's around the courthouse.
That is correct. So the Strassenfest, as traditional, will start with the box parade coming up from the firehouse and the celebration singers, and then the opening ceremony start from there. And we're going to, for sure, keep that procession down to the beer garden with the ceremonial keg tapping and the first bratwurst. So all of that's there, as well as many other things. But
do you get to eat the first bratwurst, or is that the mayor's thing?
well, I'm not sure who gets to be there first.
Okay, whoever's in line first.
Whoever's first.
Okay. All right, that's neat. Well, we mentioned bratwurst, which is food, and a lot of people go to all the fests around the area because of food, but the Strassenfest is well known for the variety of food. Shelby, if you could talk about the food booths.
Sure. We've got a lot of good stuff this year, bringing back a lot of favorites. The Patoka Lake Sailing Club is going to have their Monster Chocolate Chip Cookies, which I know everyone really enjoys, and they will be open Friday for lunch, as well as some hamburgers and cheeseburgers. The German Club is going to have their bratwurst, knockwurst, German bologna, Wiener Schnitzel, all of that good stuff. You can get your giant breaded tenderloins from the Knights of Columbus, walking tacos from the St. Paul's Lutheran Church. There's going to be a wide variety of food down there, and you can find all of the listings in these nice little booklets that you can pick up around town.
And those booklets are really, really helpful because they are very nice. Now, some of these booths will be open on Friday, August 3rd for lunch.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
That is correct.
And they'll all be open, I guess, Saturday for lunch because that's
part of the normal
But Friday,
fest time.
that's kind of unusual because the fest, some people think of the fest as not going on, but there is a lot of food. I know I always go down on Friday, and that's when we eat.
And this is something that was started a couple of years ago to bring out Friday lunch, something that we borrowed the idea of from other areas. And we get a lot of employer support that will allow their employees to come down and purchase food at the fest on Friday afternoon. There's a few employers in town that have special, Mike Bucks is one of them from Jasper Group that helps out and encourages employees to come down. So we're very appreciative of the employers that do that as well to help support the fest.
Now, the fest is also full of events. And again, there's a lot of events, and all of that's online, on Facebook, or in these booklets. Pick up one of these booklets. You can carry it around with you everywhere. What are some of the great events?
Well, as Mike said, you really don't want to miss the opening ceremonies. I think that's going to be a really special thing this year. We've also got the balloon launch, which will be very neat. The talent spiel is one of my favorite things to go to on Saturdays. There is the golf scrambles, the farm machinery show. There's going to be a wine fair down at the Riverwalk on Saturday. There's the homebrew contest. There's all kinds of stuff for kids on Saturdays with the rides and the Kinderspiel. So I think it's going to be a really, really jam-packed weekend, and there's always something going on.
There is, and it's hard to pick one day to say I'm going to go to the Strassenfest on this day because there's events going on each day that you want to be part of.
Absolutely.
And then the big parade. It kind of, not that it wraps up, but the parade on Sunday, then followed by the fireworks. But the parade is a huge parade.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Strassenfest has been very fortunate to have the Optimist running the parade from year one for 40 years. So we want to put a big shout out to the Optimist Club for taking on that responsibility and doing a great job in providing wonderful entertainment.
And we've mentioned two things that WJTS is involved in that we run the talent spiel, but we record it and we air it in a couple of weeks. And we also will be recording the parade and airing that in a couple of weeks, and it shows up on our YouTube page as well. So a lot of great programming coming up just because of the Strassenfest.
We appreciate all that WJTS does for us, Bill. It's a big commitment for local media to help out and get the word out, and we very much appreciate your time here to do it today.
Well, now, Shelby, but Mike's an old member. I didn't mean that as an insult.
That's okay.
Shelby, you're a young member. You're a freshman member.
Yes.
What's your impression of the Strassenfest?
Well, I've loved the Strassenfest. I grew up in Jasper, so it's a big part of, the summer before you go back to school. It's a great way to kind of see people when they're coming into town. But being part of the committee has really been fun. It's getting to work with people who I probably wouldn't normally get to work with, and people who are very passionate about making the Strassenfest really, really fun. And I do social media for work, but I've gotten the chance to do some new things for the Strassenfest that I wouldn't normally get to do. So it's been really, really fun. It's been a learning experience, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, the Strassenfest runs like a well-oiled machine. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes. Do you still need people coming up and saying, hey, I'd like to help set up stands, or I don't want to be on the committee, but I'd like to help a little bit with this?
If anybody wants to get involved, we're about inclusion and trying to make sure that we have a path forward. So if you want to be involved, reach out to us. If you have a particular interest, we'll figure it out.
Okay, you'll find a place for them somewhere, like social media, right? So that's a new thing. That didn't happen 40 years ago, let me tell you.
Absolutely, and I do want to put a plug in for all of our committee members. This is not a chairman-run festival at all. It is because of our great committee that we have that we get to do all these wonderful things. If I didn't have folks that were out here each doing their own part and their own piece to bring all of this together, it couldn't happen. So I got to give a great shout out to that. And as a freshman member of our committee, Shelby, you did a wonderful job this year.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to both of you. And speaking of the committee members, many of them will be on the air next Thursday morning, August 2nd, 9 a.m. We do a live show right here on 18 WJTS talking about the Strassenfest with the pageantry. We'll have the royalty will be here as well, and each of your committee folks will be talking about the events coming up. And it's also aired on 18 WJTS TV and simulcast on 101 Country WBDC. We're looking forward to that show next week. So don't forget to come back at 9 o'clock on.
We'll be here.
Okay, all right. Strassenfest next weekend. It's hard to believe that the summer is really kind of wrapping up as we're getting ready for a school year, but the Strassenfest will be here before you know it. Make sure you take part in all the activities, including the pageants that start with this Saturday.
Yes.
All right. Mike Ackerman, chairman for the Jasper Strassenfest, second year, and Shelby Hettinger, who is the chair of the social media and Facebook page. All right. Thanks to both of you for coming in.
Thanks, everyone, for having us.
Thank you for watching WJTS. We're local people watching local people.